What is going on, family? The Galactic Guardian is reporting for duty 369. The whole universe is on my side. Goddamn right, I'm so divine. I got a message for you today. 3 steps to self forgiveness. If you're going through something right now, if you got some resistance in your field, stay tuned to the end of this video. You're going to get the 3 steps to self forgiveness. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. Drop a comment below saying, let's get right into it. Self-forgiveness, right? There are 3 steps. Step number 1 is awareness. Okay. 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 We must we must first become aware of what it is we need to forgive. Okay, what is it we need to forgive? Is there something that we did? Is it something from our past? A lot of times, guys, what we must forgive is the relationships we have with other people in our life. A lot of times it's our parents. A lot of times it's our close friends. A lot of times it's our family members, you know? And what I have found is that our relationships in our life at this moment are almost always a reflection of the first relationships we had in general, which is usually with our parents, right? With a man and a female. And it can be your brothers and sisters as well. Okay? So, and realize this, guys, that fundamentally speaking, your relationships with other people are a reflection of your relationship with yourself. Okay? So, we got to be self aware. We got to take self inventory. You see, what is it in my life right now that I'm experiencing that I don't like? What is it in my life right now that I'm experiencing that I'm grateful for? We got to be aware. What is my pain right now? And what is my pleasure that I would like to experience, right? Like, what we got to become aware. We got to become aware specifically of beliefs, okay? Because odds are, guys, if there's something in your life that you're experiencing that's unwanted, realize that everything that's ever happened to you, you created it. You either were consciously or unconsciously creating your reality. You see, the decisions of your past created today. The decisions of today create your future. And when you realize that you are not just a physical being living a linear life, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. You see, your soul is eternal. Your soul is eternal. This experience is temporary. Okay, you see, you're not your past. Your past was an experience. Okay? You are not your thoughts. You are the presence experiencing them. You see? Take care of the present moment. The future will take care of itself because the future is nothing more than a continuation of present moment. Step number 1 to self-forgiveness is awareness. We must become aware of what needs to be healed, what needs to be forgived. Go within yourself. You see, the answers are within. Step number 1 is awareness. You must become aware. And once you become aware, what is this belief? What's happening in my life that I want to change? And find out why is this happening? And you come to find out that it's because of a belief. And odds are you have different patterns throughout your life. Like, for example, with me, in my childhood, I have found that there were certain beliefs I had that were blocking me from money that I adopted from the church as a kid. I was told that rich people go to hell, right? For some reason, I believed that if I got super rich and successful, then my family would not love me. They would not look at me the same way, or they would ask me for money. So I was afraid to get it, right? And that belief has blocked me from money in times of my life. And then, for example, with relationship with women, right? I was never being authentic with my mother. See, I wanted to please my mother all the time. So there was this point in time in my life when I was like 5 years old, and I was getting angry all the time. I was getting mad. I was getting mad, bro. I was getting mad we were losing. Like, that's a good thing, I think. But everyone told me, like, Jordan, you need to be nice. Be nice, be kind, be sweet. That's one of the programs I heard. And I heard that if you got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Right? So we were programmed to believe that certain emotions are bad, that you can't be depressed because that means you're a bad person. Or if you're mad, that means you're a bad person. You see, we are not our emotions. We are experiencing our emotions. Okay? So you got to become aware of the emotions that are trapped in your body, because a lot of times, guys, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling down in the dumps, okay, the reason why that is because you have emotions that are trapped in your body that are unhealed. You see, suppression leads to depression. Whatever emotions you suppress are trapped in your body, and you need to release them. And one of the best ways you can release them is to cry. Okay, so that leads us into step number 2. Step 1 is awareness. Step number 2 is when you can feel it, right? You got to feel what it is. You got to feel your pain. You got to feel the pain. A lot of times in the law of attraction community, you're talking about, I got to think about what I want. I got to focus on the reality I prefer. I can't be thinking negative thoughts. Why are you telling me to think negative thoughts? Why are you telling me to feel pain? You see, you guys, because if there's emotions trapped in your body, you see, whatever resists persists. If you're resisting, oh, this thing happened to me, well, I want to avoid that. This happened to me, I got to pretend this doesn't exist. You see, we got to become aware of two things. We got to become aware of where we are and where we are going. And wherever we are right now, we got to realize that to get to where we want to go, there are certain things we got to let go of. We got to let go of people, places, things, and specifically beliefs that are not us. You are not your thoughts. You're the present experience of them. You are not your beliefs, okay? Try your beliefs on like a hat, right? You can't get trapped into a belief system that doesn't serve you. You got to let go of beliefs that don't serve you. Use beliefs because, see, this reality is based around beliefs. You see, nothing is true. Everything is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever you believe is true for you in your reality. Whatever you believe within yourself, the outer world reflects back to you that into physical reality. All right? So you got to feel your pain. You got to become vulnerable with yourself. You got to have self-vulnerability and feel that pain that you're hiding. You can't heal what you hide. You got to feel that shit. You know, I faced my demons and it was powerful. It was painful. It was painful, but guess what? You gotta feel to heal. Whatever you feel, you can heal. And whatever you feel, what happens is that leads you to step 3, which is releasing, which is letting go. And when you realize your spirit having a human experience, you can let go of your attachment to this story of who you think you are. You can let go of this attachment to, I am this person living in this place, doing these things, and I believe this. You create a self out of your past. You see, you are not your past. Your past was an experience. You are the presence experiencing this moment and creating your future based off of your vibration in this now moment. What are you thinking, feeling, and doing repeatedly the most? That's creating what's happening next, right? For you to become who you really are, you must let go of who you think you are. You must let go of these attachments that you're holding on to. A lot of times, emotional attachments to stories that you are telling yourself about who you are. Beliefs that you adopted early in childhood about your worthiness around. A lot of times it's love, is love, health, and wealth, right? You believe you are this person that likes these things, and this is just how I see myself, and this is who I am. That's a belief. It's nothing more than a belief. We can let go of a belief and choose a new belief at any given time. See, a belief is nothing more than a thought you think repeatedly. That's what a belief is. You see, we become what we do. We become what we repeatedly do. Therefore, success is not an act, but a habit. Okay? So whatever you habitually think about, whatever you habitually feel, whatever you habitually do becomes who you are. That's your personality, which creates your personal reality. That's Dr. Joe Dispenza. You never heard him. Check him out. Dr. Joe Dispenza. Guided meditations. Right? Become aware of what's blocking you. What is that energetic block? What is that belief that's deep within yourself? And the reason why a lot of times we have these blocks is because it's unconscious, meaning we're not aware of it. A lot of times it's because it's below the surface. And this is why meditation is very powerful. I'm going to give you a little bit of a meditation technique to go within yourself. Okay? Realize there are multiple layers to this. There are multiple levels to this, man. There are multiple levels to this. When you sit down in your meditation, the first type of thoughts you're going to think if go by your awareness are what you did today, or what you just did, what you were just thinking about it. Once you clear those out, eventually you're going to get to this point that I like to call the void. It might take you 10 minutes, it might take you 20 minutes, it might take you an hour, okay? It's called the void, or you want to get to a point where you're a blank canvas, where you're no longer thinking thoughts, you are a pure presence in this moment. And then what happens is, based off of the intention you set at the beginning, or based off of the thought you choose to think, right? There's a difference between receiving a thought and thinking a thought, right? There's a difference between a program from your past and then a download from your future. There's two different things, okay? Two different things. So when you're going within yourself, you're focusing on your breath and you're putting awareness. Instead of in your mind, you're putting your awareness on your breath and focusing it from the base of your spine up into your heart space. You really want to put it up into your heart space. And depending on how high you want to go, I mean, you can put it up here as well, or up here as well, depending on what your intention is. But, starting with the heart, for you to forgive, you must love and accept yourself. Forgiveness, self-forgiveness and self-love and self-acceptance are pretty much synonyms here in this scenario. We got to accept ourselves not only for who we are today, but for who we were before, because there was a version of us in the past that did not know any better. We got to forgive that version. And when you heal that inner child, you have now released that emotion. And when you've released that emotion, whether it's grief, whether it's guilt, whether it's shame, whether it's depression, whether it's anger, when you release those emotions, you can become more of what you really are, which is pure love and light. That's what you are. When you've released what is not you, you become what you really are, which is love and light. You see, love is the only truth. Everything else is just a perspective. That's why I say nothing is true. Everything is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You see, the story you're telling yourself will always be true for you. But when you tell yourself a different story, you get yourself a different reality. You see, you are not your past. Your past was just an experience. You are the present experiencing this moment. Vibrate in the energy of your choice. You see, feel how you want to feel most of the time. But what I have found to be helpful for me in raising my vibration, most of raising your vibration is just letting go. It's just letting go of what's not you. And what's not you is these attachments to people, places, things, and beliefs based off of your past experiences. You have to let go of people, places, things, and beliefs, specifically the attachment to those things. When you let go of attachments, you become free. When you no longer need stuff, right? Some of the most freeing experiences I've ever had is when I just took no stuff with me or very little stuff with me. And I just decided to just do what I wanted. Instead of having like, oh, I got to take this much stuff with me. I got to make sure I bring 10 bags of clothes and I got to make sure my room is set up perfect. Realize that you, yourself, and God is all you need. You don't need all these things. You don't need all these people, all these places, all these situations. Those things are helpful, but not needed. Those things are helpful, but not needed. You know, one thing that I was reading today in Asking is Given is that nothing in your environment needs to change for you to consciously allow your connection to the infinite stream of well-being. Nothing needs to change outside of you for you to feel it inside of you. See, when you make the change on the inside, the outside changes to reflect, right? It's not about what's happening out there. It's about what's happening in here. When you realize that the outer world is an illusion, the real world exists within yourself. The outer world just reflects back to you how you feel and what you believe about it. Everything and everyone in your reality is a reflection of you. You know, it comes to a point in time when you realize that you are the only thing that is real. Love is the only thing that is real. Everything else is just a perspective. You see, we can all be having the same exact experience, but we're all looking at it from a different point of view. We're all looking at it from a different perspective. That's because we all have different, unique experiences. We have a unique, different way of looking at things. You see, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at are going to change. Okay? It depends on your lens. How are you viewing things? How are you seeing things? Are you complaining or are you appreciating? What are you looking for? Are you looking for the gold? Right? Become conscious of your unconscious thoughts about yourself and about reality. You know, one thing you can do to become conscious of your unconscious thoughts, number one, is just set the intention to become conscious of your unconscious thoughts. Right? Say it as an affirmation. What is an affirmation? It's a phrase that you repeat over and over again. You see, you get what you think about most of the time. That's number one. But two, a belief is a thought that you think repeatedly. So for you to create a new belief, make it an affirmation that you repeat every single day. And then it becomes a belief. Right? It becomes a part of who you are. See, you are a blank canvas. Your thoughts are the paint. Your human is the picture. What are you going to create? Are you thinking about your past or your future? See, a lot of times when I find people and I'm talking to people where they're overthinking, or even when I find myself overthinking, right? If you're overthinking right now, if you're not sure what to do next, you know, sometimes you got to go within and say, okay, what do I want? You got to ask yourself what you want, right? If your thoughts are all going all over the place, well, I got this thing happening, I got this thing. Well, here, pay attention, right? You're not your past. Your past was an experience, okay? Take care of the present moment. The future will take care of itself, right? Go as far as you can see, and when you get there, then you'll see further. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about a future that hasn't happened yet. Faith and fear are both emotions to express a feeling about a future that hasn't happened yet. Okay? You can feel the feelings of your past or your future right now. So if you haven't clearly defined a vision of your future, you are automatically left with the memories of your past. And where do you think your unconscious thoughts will drift back to if you have not clearly defined a vision of your future? You know, and what I found is what stops people from defining the vision of their future is they don't believe they can do it. And the reason why they don't believe they can do it is because they feel like they don't know how, or they don't have the connections, or they don't have the experience. They're just excuses. They're just excuses. And I was reading in Magic of Thinking Big. You see, the excuses that unsuccessful people make are excuses that successful people could have but did not make. You see, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. Because everything is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You are the answer you are looking for. You see, there's a story about the great Houdini. One thing he did to promote his shows, his magic shows, he loved going to the prison cells at the cities he went to, kind of as like a scene to get attention, right, to get people to go to his shows. And he went down to this prison, and the cops, they had all the cops come down, or the prison guards or whatever, and they locked him in this jail cell. And, you know, one thing he always did was he would always be able to, you know, get himself out of whatever was out of the handcuffs, or he would pick the lock, or whatever he did. He would somehow get out, even though they locked it. And he just kept trying it for 15 minutes, right? Normally it takes him like a minute. For 15 minutes, he couldn't get it done. 30 minutes, he just couldn't get it. After an hour, he still couldn't get it. He was sweating, he was struggling. And an hour and a half, he still couldn't do it. He just kept trying, he just kept trying. Right? Mind you, normally only takes like 10 minutes. So he's just sitting there wondering, like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? And then after 2 hours, he finally gives up. And then the guards come back, and they find out that the door was unlocked the whole time. You see, we put self-imposed limitations on ourselves. A lot of times we think there's a block, we think there's a lock on the door. It's already open. You just got to push it open. It's already open. You see, your heart is the compass to your true self. Your internal guidance system will lead the way. Your mind can put self-imposed limitations on yourself. Have you ever heard the story? You ever heard the story about the flea, right? They put a flea in a jar. The flea jumps out. Okay? I put the flea back in the jar, and they put the lid on the jar. The flea jumps, hits his head on the lid. Jumps again, hits his head on the lid. The flea keeps jumping up and down, hits his head on the lid about for 30 minutes straight. Finally, he stops. He stops trying. Okay? And then he starts to adjust his jump. He jumps almost to the lid and stops about an inch from the top. Okay? Meanwhile, right before this 30 minutes ago, he jumped all the way out easily, no problem. Okay? And this is what happened, right? He jumped all the way up to the lid and right before the top, and then he stopped. And he did it again, did it again, did it again, did it again. And what happened was he began to condition his belief in his jumping ability based off of this cap that was on him. Okay? And what happened is they take the lid off, and the flea still could not jump out of the jar, even though the lid was off, because his belief was that he couldn't do it. Right? He could easily jump way out of there, but he was conditioned to believe that he couldn't do it. You see, your beliefs don't come from you. You see, your thoughts aren't your own. They come from your environment. They come from your senses. And this is why I'm going to ask you these questions. If you want to change what you believe, if you want to change how you think, if you want to change how you feel, ask yourself 3 things. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? And what are you speaking? And to the answer of those 3 questions align with the answer to the question of what do you want? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? Clearly define a vision of your future. What do you want? What do you want? If you don't know what you want, how are you going to get it? If you haven't clearly defined a vision of the future, you're left with the memories of the past. If you don't know what you want, how are you going to get it? Right? What are you listening to? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? And what are you speaking? You get what you think about most of the time. Right? Realize that you are the one you are looking for. Self-forgiveness, the 3 steps. Awareness, feeling it, and releasing it. Let go of what is not you to become who you really are. That's my message for today. You can follow me for more on Instagram at Infinite Abundance 777. I'll drop all the links below, whichever ones we drop. And I hope you have a great rest of your